don't understand. Somebody in this room has been carrying weight too long. You've been tired, you've been weary, you've been broken down by life. But I came here to tell you, this is not the end of your story. This right here, this is your moment to rise up. Understand, your moment to get your strength back, your moment to take back what life, what fear, what doubt tried to steal from you. Understand, don't you let another season pass you by waiting for somebody else to change it for you. This is you are season to change. This is you are hour to shift. Stand. This is you are time to take a stand and say, I may have been down, but I'm not staying down. I may have been weak. Stand, but I'm about to get strong again. Turn to somebody and tell them, this is my moment. Because when you make up your mind to change, then all of heaven backs you up. And today I declare your strength is coming back. Your courage is coming back. Your power is coming back. This is your moment. Understand, every great change begins with a moment. Not tomorrow, not next week, not next year, but right now. Don't understand. The problem with many of us is that we are waiting for the perfect time and the perfect situation, the perfect conditions before we decide to move forward. But the truth is, the perfect time is never going to come. Life will always have storms, distractions, and excuses lined up to keep you stuck where you are. Understand, but when you recognize that this moment right here, right now, is the moment God has given you, something shifts inside of you. Something wakes up. Understand, you begin to realize that you don't have to wait for permission to rise. You don't have to wait for somebody to validate you. Understand, you don't have to wait for all the stars to align. This is the turning point, and it begins the very moment you make the decision that enough is enough. Understand, every person who has ever stepped into greatness had to recognize their moment. Understand that David didn't wait until he was older and stronger to fight Goliath. He seized the moment with what he had in his hand. Esther didn't wait until she felt completely prepared to speak to the king. She recognized her moment and declared, if I perish, I perish. Jesus himself said, my hour has come. What am I trying to tell you? That the power of transformation doesn't show up in the future. It shows up in the present. You don't need a guarantee. You don't need a perfect setup. You need the courage to recognize that this is your moment. And if you miss it, stand, you may never see it again. So many of us livestock because we think our turning point is somewhere out there. We say, one day when I have more money, one day when I feel stronger, one day when people finally see my value. But hear me, one day is not on the calendar. All you've got is today. And all you've got is this moment. And this moment is more than enough to ignite a shift in your life. Because the truth is, power doesn't come when everything is easy. 10, power is revealed in the hard places. Strength is discovered in the struggle. Destiny is birthed in the middle of disruption. Understand, if you wait until everything is comfortable, you will never change. But if you recognize that even in the discomfort, even in the uncertainty, even in the pain, this moment is the soil where transformation is planted. You will rise in a way that nobody can stop. Some of you have been saying, understand, I'll try again next year. But next year will look just like this year if you don't change your mindset right now. Understand, you can't keep pushing your breakthrough down the road. You can't keep procrastinating on your purpose. Life will not wait for you. Opportunity will not wait for you. God will not keep opening the same door forever. You have to be bold enough to say, I don't care what I've lost. Understand, I don't care how I failed. I don't care how long I've been stuck. This is my turning point. And when you speak that with conviction, something begins to break. The atmosphere begins to shift. Chains start to loosen, and the doors of possibility swing wide open. Stand, the moment you recognize your turning point, you activate faith. And faith is what moves mountains. Faith is what changes atmospheres. To understand, say that faith is what separates the ordinary from the extraordinary. When you declare that this is your moment, you are not just speaking words. You are aligning yourself with divine timing. And when divine timing and human decision collide, transformation is inevitable. Don't understand, there comes a point in life when you realize that life has been trying to drain you. Circumstances have tried to rob you of your confidence. Understand, people have spoken words that cut into your spirit. Disappointments have piled up, and every setback has felt like it chipped away at your strength. Don't understand, you've been walking, but you've been walking tired. You've been showing up, but you've been showing up empty. And yet, deep down inside, there is a voice telling you that you were not created to live weak. You were not designed to live defeated. You were not made to crawl when you were born to stand tall. Don't understand, somewhere along the way, life may have knocked you down, but this is the time to reclaim what you lost. This is the time to take your strength back. Stand. Strength is not just physical, it is mental, emotional, and spiritual. Strength is what keeps you moving when you feel like giving up. Don't understand, strength is what makes you stand when everything around you is shaking. Strength is what keeps you believing when the evidence tells you it's over. Stand. But here is the truth of strength doesn't automatically return just because time passes. You don't get stronger by waiting. You get stronger by deciding that you will no longer let life rob you of the power God placed in you. You reclaim your strength by making a choice. Understand, by rising up from the ashes and by refusing to let what was steal what still can be. Think about it, life is always testing your strength. Stand. When you lose someone you love, your strength is tested. When the bills are higher than the paycheck, your strength is tested. When people betray you, your strength is tested. And the enemy's goal is not just to hurt you. His goal is to weaken you until you stop fighting. Because if he can break your strength, he can break your destiny. But what he didn't count on is that you have the ability to recover. You have the ability to rise back up. You have the ability to take your strength back from every situation, every disappointment, and every attack that tried to strip you of it. Reclaiming your strength means declaring, I will not stay down. It means deciding, I may have been knocked back, but I'm not knocked out. It means saying that I refuse to let my mistakes define me. I refuse to let my past chain me. I refuse to let fear control me. When you reclaim your strength, don't understand, you take back control over your story. You stop letting what happened to you dictate what's ahead of you. You refuse to live in weakness another day. Don't understand, because you realize that weakness was never your identity. It was only your condition, and conditions can change the moment you decide to fight back. Understand this. Don't understand, your strength is not gone. It's just buried. It's under the rubble of worry, under the weight of failure, under the shame of yesterday, under the heaviness of disappointment. But buried is not destroyed. Buried is not gone. All it takes is for you to dig again, to reach down deep inside, don't understand, and to pull back the power that has always been yours. And the moment you reclaim it, you begin to walk differently. You begin to talk differently. Don't understand, you begin to show up with authority. People who once pitied you start to wonder how you survived, how you made it, how you came back stronger than before. Don't understand, and when you reclaim your strength, it doesn't just change you, it inspires everybody connected to you. Your family sees it, your friends see it, your community feels it, because strength is contagious. One person's decision to rise can spark a fire in others to rise too. Don't understand, that's why the enemy fought you so hard, because he knew if you got your strength back, you would not only change your life, you would shift the atmosphere everywhere you go. One of the greatest weights we carry is the weight of the past, the weight of what didn't work, the weight of who left us. Understand, the weight of bad decisions and missed opportunities, and the danger of carrying that weight is that it slowly convinces you that you can't move forward. Instead, it whispers to you that because you failed before, you will fail again. It reminds you of every door that closed, every time you fell short, every moment you were overlooked, and before long, you are walking, but you're walking bent over by the weight of yesterday. You're smiling on the outside, understand, but inside you're exhausted from carrying disappointment after disappointment. That weight doesn't just sit on your shoulders, it sits on your spirit. Don't understand. It drains your energy, clouds your vision, and suffocates your hope. But hear me, the past is over. You can't change what happened. Don't understand, but you can decide what happens next. And if you want your strength back, you must release the weight of past failures and disappointments. Let it go, Stan, because as long as your hands are holding on to what was, they cannot be free to grab hold of what is coming. Stand. You cannot receive new blessings while you're clutching old baggage. You cannot run into your future while you're chained to your history. At some point, don't understand, you've got to make the decision to drop it. Failure is not final. Disappointment is not destiny. Sometimes what you called failure was actually preparation. Don't understand. Sometimes what you called rejection was actually protection. But because you keep replaying it in your mind, you don't see the lesson in it. You only see the loss. Don't understand. But when you let it go, when you release the weight, your perspective shifts. You begin to see that what you thought broke you actually built you. Understand what you thought disqualified you actually positioned you. What you thought delayed you was actually developing you. So many of us sabotage our own future because we keep dragging the past into it. We drag broken relationships into new relationships. We drag old insecurities into new opportunities. We drag the shame of yesterday into the promise of today. And then we wonder why we feel stuck, why we feel heavy. Don't understand why we feel unworthy of change. It's not because the future isn't waiting for you. It's because you won't let go of the weight that's holding you back. Understand, releasing the past is not about denying that it hurt. It's not about pretending it didn't happen. It's about refusing to let it control you anymore. You acknowledge it, you learn from it, and then you lay it down. Don't understand. Because you can't carry the cross of your destiny if your back is already breaking under the baggage of yesterday. You were not built to carry both. Don't understand, you've got to choose. Will you keep holding on to what God already closed, or will you release it so your hands are open for what He's about to do? The moment you release the weight, your spirit begins to breathe again. Peace starts to flow where there was once turmoil. Joy starts to rise where there was once sadness. Hope starts to bloom where there was once despair. Suddenly you're lighter. Suddenly you can dream again. Suddenly you can see possibilities that were blocked by the fog of disappointment, because freedom doesn't come by fixing the past. It comes by releasing it. Understand, and when you let it go, you discover that you are stronger than you thought, wiser than you believed, and more resilient than you ever imagined. The pain didn't destroy you, it prepared you. The loss didn't define you, it refined you. And now you are free to move forward without the chains of yesterday holding you hostage. Don't understand, there comes a point where you have to stop letting the world tell you who you are and start declaring it for yourself. Understand, too many people have been living under labels that were never meant for them. Somebody told you that you weren't good enough and you believed it. Don't understand, somebody told you that you were too broken, too weak, too late, and you carried it like it was truth. But hear me, who you used to be does not have the final say over who you can become. You are not defined by the failures behind you. You are defined by the courage inside of you to step forward and make a change. Redefining yourself is about breaking free from the identity that pain tried to put on you and embracing the identity that purpose has always had for you. Change does not start on the outside, it starts in your mind. As long as you see yourself as defeated, you will live defeated. As long as you see yourself as weak, understand, you will act weak. But the moment you begin to change your vision of yourself, your life begins to shift. The mind is the battlefield where destiny is won or lost. Don't understand, that's why the enemy fights you in your thoughts. Because if he can convince you to settle, if he can convince you to quit, if he can convince you to shrink, then he doesn't have to fight you anywhere else. But when you renew your mind, when you begin to see yourself as strong, as capable, as chosen, as called, understand suddenly you begin to move differently. You begin to walk in courage. You begin to pursue opportunities you once thought were too big for you. Redefining yourself is not about ignoring the past. It's about refusing to be trapped by it. Yes, you made mistakes, but that doesn't mean you are a mistake. Yes, understand, you fell, but that doesn't mean you can't rise. Yes, you've been through storms, but storms don't last forever. And when they pass, you are left with wisdom, stand, resilience, and strength you didn't even know you had. Redefining yourself is choosing to stand in that strength instead of staying in your weakness. It's about saying, I may have been broken, but I am not finished. I may have been wounded, but I am not worthless. I may have been delayed, but I am not denied is what fuels this transformation, because change is never comfortable. Change will stretch you, challenge you, and sometimes scare you. Understand, but courage is not the absence of fear. It is the decision to move forward in spite of it. Courage is what makes you stand in rooms where people don't believe in you. Courage, it is what makes you take steps toward dreams that feel bigger than you. Understand, courage is what makes you refuse to settle for the life you've been living when you know there is more inside of you. Redefining yourself requires courage because it demands that you step away from who you've always been and walk toward who you were always meant to be. Stand. When you choose courage, when you choose change, everything about your life begins to transform. Understand, you start surrounding yourself with people who lift you instead of limit you. You start creating habits that build you instead of break you. Stand. You start speaking words that empower you instead of discourage you. And over time, the person you used to be fades, and the person you are becoming begins to shine. You stop apologizing for your strength. You stop hiding your gifts. You stop shrinking to make other people comfortable, because you've redefined yourself according to your calling, not your critics. The world is waiting for the real you to show up. Not the you that life tried to bury. Understand, not the you that fear tried to silence, not the you that disappointment tried to shrink, the real you, the courageous you, the transformed you. Understand, and when you redefine yourself through courage and intentional change, you step into the fullness of who you were always created to be. Understand, there is something powerful about rising. Rising means you refuse to stay where you've been. Rising means you look at everything that tried to hold you down and declare, you will not keep me here. Rising is a choice. Don't understand, and it's a declaration that you are no longer content with living beneath your potential. The future is calling you, and it is not calling you to come crawling. Stand, it is calling you to rise, to stand tall, to step into it with power and with purpose, because you cannot walk into a new season carrying an old posture. You cannot step into the future bowed down by fear, weighed down by doubt, or chained down by insecurity. At some point, understand, you must decide that you are going to rise with renewed strength, renewed vision, and renewed courage. Rising into the future is not about waiting for circumstances to change. It is about changing yourself so you can meet the future prepared. Understand, too many people are waiting for life to get easier before they take action. They say, when things settle down, I'll go after my dream. When people believe in me, I'll take my chance. When I feel stronger, I'll step forward. But the truth is, you don't wait until you feel ready. You rise first, understand, and the strength meets you on the way. Power comes in motion. Courage comes in movement. And as you rise, the future begins to unfold before you in ways you never thought possible. When you rise with renewed power, you're not just walking in your own ability, you're walking in the authority that comes from surviving everything that was meant to break you. And every setback becomes fuel. Every disappointment becomes wisdom. Every scar becomes proof that you are still here, still standing, still breathing. understand, still ready to move forward. That's why rising is so powerful. It shifts your perspective from victim to victor. It reminds you that you may have been knocked down. Don't understand, but you were never knocked out. You may have been delayed, but you were not denied. The fact that you are still here means that the future still has room for you. Don't understand, rising into the future requires purpose, because without purpose, you will drift. Without purpose, you will rise for a moment, then fall back into the same patterns. Don't stand. Purpose is the anchor that keeps you steady as you move forward. It's the reason you get back up when life knocks you down. Don't understand. It's the vision that pulls you through the pain. And the moment you connect with that purpose, everything about how you rise changes. You no longer rise out of desperate direction. You no longer rise just to survive. You rise to build, to create, to impact, to transform. And purpose gives your rising meaning, and meaning gives your rising momentum. Understand this, rising into the future does not mean the absence of challenges. Don't understand. It means you now face challenges from a different position. You're not looking up from the ground. You're standing tall. Don't understand. Looking forward with strength in your step and power in your spirit. You are no longer reactive, waiting for life to happen to you. You are proactive. Stand, making life happen with every decision you make. And that shift changes everything, because the world responds differently to someone who stands tall. Opportunities open, doors unlock, people notice, because strength has a sound and purpose has a presence, and when you rise, both begin to surround you. 10, your rising is not just for you. It is for everyone connected to you. When you rise, your family sees what's possible. When you rise, your children learn resilience. When you rise, your community is inspired. Rising is contagious. Your courage gives someone else permission to be courageous. Your purpose gives someone else the courage to discover theirs. And suddenly, your decision to rise becomes a movement that touches lives far beyond your own.